On a breezy, cool night here in Fort Worth, Nolan with a 35-7 lead over St. Anthony in the first round of the TAPS state playoffs here on Time Warner Cable Sports Channel. We had a chance just last week to cover the TAPS state volleyball tournament in Corsicana, and it was a lot of fun. Melanie Mercer is the head volleyball coach here at Nolan, and she's standing by with Mike Stern.
And I'm with Melanie Mercer, the outstanding girls volleyball coach here at Nolan Catholic. Thanks for joining our halftime extravaganza.
Thank you.
Good season for you, just completed. This, of course, your first year. Tell us a little bit about your education.
I went to Cisco College for 2 years to play volleyball, and then I transferred to the University of Texas at Tyler, where I played volleyball there as well. I just graduated May 2012, and now I'm here.
Well, congratulations. What was it like the first couple of games this year, your first head coaching stint?
Oh, it was nerve-wracking. I was very nervous the entire time, but everyone here in the TAPS district, they're very welcoming. I had a very good, warm welcome to come in, and it was very exciting.
Tell us about some of your outstanding players here at Nolan Catholic.
Well, we just finished the season, like you said. Stephanie Chavez, she's going to the University of New Mexico. She's our libero. She received All-State, first team All-District, and then we had another one of our players, Elise Wright, who was our setter, and she got All-District honorable mention.
Okay. We broadcast last weekend the championship tournament in Corsicana. I understand you nearly made that.
Yes, sir, we did.
What was that like?
Well, I did make it to the regional tournament at Toledo. I went and watched those games, and it was awesome. We have one of the toughest districts in the state, and it was really cool to see those teams play together, and I wish I would have made it to Corsicana.
Tell me what is like your first year, and you see these student athletes, these girls, manage their academics and manage their athletics and do very well at both.
It's awesome. It's one of the best feelings in the world to be able to come in as a first-year head coach and have such a great community and student-athlete body. All of my girls had above 90s in their grades, and they did really well.
As someone who loves volleyball, what's the most exciting play for you in the game?
That's a tough question. It's all kind of circumstantial.
Right.
When we put the ball down, or when our libero gets an up, or when our setter has a dump over, it's really just in the moment whenever we need to get our points.
And I understand your team really maintained its composure and its team spirit throughout the season.
Oh, they did. They played very well as a team. It's been pretty rocky for them, and they came together well as a team, and they really showed me that they love the game and they have a lot of passion. Now,
you're an outstanding girls volleyball coach. You're here tonight at a football game. How excited are you that Nolan Catholic is up 35-7 at the half?
Oh, it's exciting. When I was in high school, we never had football like this, and so it's good to come to a community where we all come together as one and support everyone.
And tell us what you teach.
I teach health.
Okay, that's great. And the first year for you has really gone well.
Yes, I coach volleyball, I teach health, and I'm also the assistant basketball coach for girls.
Well, Melanie Mercer, thanks for joining our halftime extravaganza and visiting with us.
Thank you so much.
You bet. Back to you, Pete.
All right, thanks a lot, Mike. And you mentioned Nolan's got a 35-7 lead here over St. Anthony. Let's take a look at the highlights here in the first half in Fort Worth. And it was a fast start for Nolan, thanks in large part to their defense. You see Dane Hucklebridge making a tackle there. And then this is Miles Murray stepping up to make a stop for Nolan. And then they get a big turnover. Kevin Choate intercepting the pass here, as Nolan was set up for their first offensive possession, and they immediately went to their ground game, and you're getting a look there at Luke Alves, and all of their running backs have been impressive, Scott.
They all have great moves, great stiff arms and size.
Pierce Braden catches this pass and then slips through the St. Anthony defense all the way to the end zone for a touchdown. And Braden shows that he's got good hands and good speed as well, and Nolan fans had something to cheer about early. This was a completed pass for St. Anthony to Justin Meyer from his brother Michael Meyer. They had success early moving the ball. Here they give it to Henry Sanchez, and he gets tackled by Andrew Titter. And then the big guy gets the football and handles the rock. This is David Authier, and he probably was as impressive as any of the running backs. Just a workhorse, and does kind of remind me, Scott, of Zach Line, the former SMU running back.
He looks just like him. He runs with that low center of gravity, and he's really, really fit.
And you see him get in the end zone there. Mayer going again to the passing game, and this time he finds Justin Mayer on a slip screen, and Mayer shows his speed and then cuts it back to the inside. He will go all the way to the end zone. St. Anthony back in the game, trailing 14-7 at that juncture. Then they try an onside kick. Wasn't a bad gamble, but it backfired a little bit. Robert Rangel was able to recover for Nolan, and then Nolan wasted no time. Alves burst into the secondary and sets up Nolan, 1st and goal to go, and the Vikings know the way to the end zone from there. Alves carries it in for a touchdown, and they're back up by 14. One of the few times that we've seen Jacob Walden throw the ball. This time he completes the pass to the tight end, Nick Boudreau, and then it's right back to the ground game, and Authier powering his way into the end zone. Authier in that red zone is money.
He is. You know, I think he got better as the half went on. I think it had more to do with that offensive line, just getting the timing, and they sensed the dominance from guard center to guard. Nolan's about as good as it gets at this level.
Let's check in with Mike Stern.
Coach, you're up 35-7 headed into the third quarter against a pretty tough opponent. You must be happy.
There's some good and some bad. I mean, too many penalties, too many sloppy mistakes, but all in all, we're playing pretty well.
Your running game is very explosive.
We've had some good explosive runs tonight. They've been, fairly crisp on what they're doing.
Is there anything you haven't seen that you'd like to see?
Be a little bit more consistent passing the ball. Other than that, and just cut out the penalties and we'll be fine.
And defensively, it looks like you're holding things together against an opponent, as we saw on their touchdown, that can really explode.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was a strike that kid threw and a beautiful run. And as long as we just keep him in front of us, don't give up any big plays.
One more question, Coach. What should we look for in the second half?
We're going to play a lot of different kids right now and just try to get some timing down and see where we end up.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck in the second half.
Welcome. Thank you.
You bet. Back to you, Pete.
All right, thanks a lot, Mike. Appreciate that. We get a chance now, Scott, to take a look at some of the stats from that first half of action here on a beautiful night for football. Nolan's going to like these stats a lot. They've got 7 more first downs. They've rushed for 270 more yards than St. Anthony. St. Anthony with an edge in the passing game, but the total yards, they're more than doubling St. Anthony offensively. The coach mentioned the penalties. They've had 8 penalties for 50 yards, and a lot of those, Scott, they've been September penalties. Penalties that we would expect to see early in the year. St. Anthony with the 2 turnovers.
You know, they were just trying to get off the ball quick, and you go to 277 rushing yards for Nolan compared to St. Anthony's 7. That tells you all you need to know. I mean, everything else really is just ancillary compared to those stats.
St. Anthony 1 for 6 on third down conversions. They can take solace. They're better than the Dallas Cowboys on third down. Nolan is 3 for 3 tonight on third down conversions.
Wow.
Time of possession, not much separating the two, really. Just about a minute and a half more for Nolan. Take a look at some of the individuals, Scott. And Michael Mayer has not been bad. 8 of 16 for 139 yards. He does have 2 interceptions. One of those really kind of inconsequential there at the end of the half. Justin Mayer, 2 catches, 89 yards, the 1 long touchdown. Henry Sanchez also has 3 catches tonight for the Yellow Jackets. Meanwhile, for Nolan, Walden has been effective when passing. 5 of 7 for 61 yards and a touchdown. But the story really is Luke Alves and David Authier and their ability to run the football. They've combined for 263 yards and 4 touchdowns.
They have, and individually they just dominated. I like what Coach Perdom for Nolan had mentioned a second ago. You and I mentioned it. Timing. The offensive line has developed the good timing tonight. Coach Perdom said, we're going to work on that, and the passing game. And I mentioned, they're up by 28 points, but don't expect Nolan to abandon the passing game completely, even though they don't need it tonight. But they can't abandon it because they still have to work on it for weeks to come.
Well, I was going to ask you, how much stuff do you just want to put on tape that your opponents have to study, that you can kind of waste time of your next opponent?
Given the level that they're at and given how good they are, I don't know that it makes any difference that the opponent knows what's coming. It really is about Nolan's execution.
They are a little bit like one of your heroes. They're a little bit like Lombardi's Packers. Here's what we're going to do. You guys try to stop it if you can.
Well, that is so much about dominant football. There are no secrets. It really comes down to blocking and tackling.
Wow, you just said a mouthful right there, because you talk about everything else in football, it is about blocking and tackling, and Nolan's going to have the football to begin this second half. They started their own 39-yard line. They had won the opening coin toss and deferred, and on the return that time for the Vikings was Eric Alvarez.
I want to get back to that point too, and I think that's what makes this team so good. I think that's why this coaching staff loves to stay intact. They get great talent here. This is a club. You heard Father at the beginning of halftime. You heard him talk about how there are about 1,000 students that go to this school, pretty decent sized high school. And they've got some big boys on that line. They've got some talent. They've got a mass of males to choose from.
Oh, a little miscommunication here, but the ball is picked up. Nolan has brought in a backup quarterback, it would appear. I don't believe that was Walden under center. Ending up with the football is Jacob Hill.
You may have just seen the ugliest Nolan play of the year. I bet they haven't had
Certainly
very
of the
many of
night.
those. Yeah, at least tonight anyway. Yeah, they don't have many of those. It's usually a well-oiled machine.
So the Vikings at their own 41 now. They ended up gaining 2 yards out of that play. And they'll give it to Casino. They've gone with a lot of their backups now. Casino carries it to the 50-yard line.
There'll be a flag for perhaps holding here. And, you know, the refs are just looking for something here in a 4-score game.
Adrian Sisson, a sophomore, is in at quarterback now. Does it surprise you that Nolan would open the second half going to their reserves here?
I'm a little bit surprised by that. I think we'll...
I thought we would see their reserves, but I thought we might see the starter still here at the beginning to make whatever halftime adjustments, let them go through that process. But they're pretty happy with what happened in the first 24 minutes, obviously.
They are, you know, and it doesn't make any difference if Walden gets more snaps. I mean, we're already deep into the season. They don't want any injuries, and he's gotten the reps tonight.
Brings up second 16.
It gives St. Anthony maybe a chance to at least make the score look a little better at the end of the night. Here's Pacino, and he'll carry it to the 42-yard line before he's stopped. And the tackle is made by Chris Gutierrez.
Saw a few counter trays in that first half. Didn't see all that many. And talk about timing in an offensive line that has to run, utilize the timing. We see that with the pulling guard and the pulling tackle. And we get a second look at it here. Look at big 65 right there, just leading the way. And he's able to get the running back out there to the edge.
3rd and 7 coming up for Nolan. Again, a lot of the reserves are in. This is a sophomore Sisson at quarterback. Toss to the tailback. This is Pacino. And Pacino gets it to the 36-yard line.
Jonathan Morosky again, a big part of that play. Here they come. Just a little toss sweep right in your living room. They get it to the edge. And watch big 65 here. There he is right there on the edge, just doing a number.
At the 44-yard line.
I think the word punishing comes to mind when you look at
word.
this, isn't it? I mean, all of these backs and all of the numbers that they've been able to grind out.
Up the middle goes Pacino, who had 37 carries during the regular season, rushed for 167 yards. Look at what their running backs did during the regular season. Owls averaged over 7 yards a carry, rushed for over 1,300 yards. Authier rushed for over nearly 500 yards and rushed for 8 yards a carry. And those two during the regular season combined to score 24 touchdowns for Nolan.
Yeah, you mentioned Owls. You know, Authier got to really take some pressure off of Owls. You know, they like that combination. It's going to be a good one.
Flag before the play.
How many pre-snap penalties, though, have we seen tonight?
Call against the Vikings. That'll be a 5-yard penalty.
You mentioned September penalties. You see another one there.
Yeah, it does. At times, it has felt like the early part of the season.
You know, we don't have stats on this, but I would be interested to know what percentage of those rushing yards have come after the first contact. I think that's what's most impressive about him.
Sisson hands off. This time the handoff is taken by
Speaking of
Jacob
which,
Hill, and another big running back into the secondary, breaking tackles, getting inside the 20, down near the 15 before his feet taken out from underneath him by Kevin Stone.
And I think he might have gotten Stone there at the end. They're calling for the trainers. The officials very aggressive about getting those trainers out there. Just a power play to the middle. Is able to bounce off a hit there.
Yeah, Justin
we see
Meyer
Hill
wasn't going to bring him down.
Yeah, Hill getting to the edge, getting to the sideline, and I think they might have gotten him